are the conservatives. The backbone of America, the people who go to work every day and don't have time for that nonsense, are the only ones who don't burn cities to the ground and attack police. How is that possible? When is this reaction ever going to come? When in the world will we ever see the taxpayers going out in the streets and saying enough is enough? We're not putting up with this or with that, and now we're going out in the streets. When will 10 million of us go out there and demand that our country be given back to us from the fanatics and the destructive elements? When? WPMO in Mississippi. Linda, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
I can't hear out of that here.
Linda, you're on the Savage Nation. Speak up.
Oh, okay. I had to hand the phone to my husband for a second. Okay. For the religious fanatics out there, I'd like to throw this out to them. I'm going to give them Isaiah 56, verse 3 through 5. It says, "The Lord hath utterly separated me from his people, neither let the eunuch say, Behold, I am a dry tree. For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep thy Sabbaths and choose."
Well, Linda, give me your opinion, please. I don't know what you're quoting the New Testament in an attempt to make a point. And what is that point?
Okay, the point is that God acknowledges that he made some people different. And you can refer to them as eunuchs or whatever you want to refer to. I'm just saying Isaiah 56, 3 through 5 says that people are made that way, and he gives them a blessing. So they're obviously people that are not hated by God. But then on the other hand, you go over to Matthew in the Bible, 19.
Well, so you're looking for your guidance from the Bible in terms of how you want to look upon gay marriage. Have you heard once on this show me saying anything negative about gay people per se? No. We're talking only about gay marriage. It's a separate issue, isn't it?
Well, that's the point that I'm eventually trying to get to. Maybe I need to narrow it down. I don't think it should be called marriage. I think that there in the past, in previous ancient societies and other societies, there's been a place for people that are outside the norm, but they didn't call it marriage in respect to raising children and that kind of thing. They maybe had jobs in a king's palace, taking care of the king's harem or something else, but they didn't.
Well, come on now. We're not living in ancient biblical times. In plain English, are you for or against gay marriage? Redefining the meaning of the word marriage.
I'm against the term marriage for them. I don't want to call it marriage. I don't want to take away their rights. I think it should have a different name, and they should have...
Well, what would you call it? Gay what?
I haven't even had time to think of a name for it, but like if you have someone that you love and care about and they're your roommate and you're on your deathbed and your roommate's got to make choices about life and death for you to have surgery or something, there needs to be something in place for that.
100% agreed. 100% right from a legalistic point of view. From a financial point of view, there must be some codified law to establish equality here, and that law is on the books in some states under the domestic partnership laws. In any other state where domestic partnerships are not legal, this can be done with a simple legal letter. Do you know that?
Right, and even...
Well, you don't have to redefine the institution of marriage to have those rights.
Right, I agree.
So that's where I come down on it. Everyone should have equal rights. However, you don't have to redefine the fundamental core belief of most of the world in order to get those rights. It's that simple. So we're seeing the legal argument right now from the from the Supreme Court point of view. And I think I would be remiss unless I play the other side of the argument, which is Mary Bonato arguing for gay marriage in clip 6.
The intimate and committed relationships of same-sex couples, just like those of heterosexual couples, provide mutual support and are the foundation of family life in our society. Yet the legal commitment, responsibility, and protection that is marriage is off limits to gay people as a class. The stain of unworthiness that follows on individuals and families contravenes the basic constitutional commitment to equal dignity.
Well, Chief Justice Roberts doesn't believe that. Listen to clip 7.
My question is, you're not seeking to join the institution. You're seeking to change what the institution is. A fundamental core of the institution is the opposite sex relationship, and you want to introduce into it a same-sex relationship.
So as you see, the battle lines are drawn, and the world is burning, and the communists have nothing to do. In New York and other cities, they're rioting. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Hey, our Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust for wealth insurance, gold and silver. Call 800-BUICOIN. You want to see how crazy this whole issue of gay, straight, babies gets? You want to hear how crazy it is? You remember the earthquake in Nepal on Saturday? Ever since that earthquake on Saturday, Israeli government and medical planes have been evacuating surrogate-born babies. And they airlifted 26 newborn babies. And who are they? Gay men are going to Nepal for surrogates to have babies. Because surrogacy in Israel is limited to heterosexual couples, many gay and single parents hire surrogates in Nepal where the service is 50% less than what it would cost in America. And in the past, while India was the most popular place for Israelis to find surrogates, a new Indian law introduced in 2013 prevents, quote, gay men and couples who had been married for less than 2 years from engaging surrogate mothers. So as a result, Nepal has become the number one surrogacy destination for Israelis. And in some cases, Indian women are traveling to Nepal to birth babies for Israelis. And as a result, Indian women pregnant with Israeli babies are also trapped in the Nepal quake aftermath. Crazy, huh? How absurd can it get? How absurd can all of this get? I don't know where this ends. I don't understand half of what's going on in this whole situation. Why do homosexual men need to have surrogate babies? Why? In a world awash with orphans, what is this about but ego? Why don't you just adopt if you're a gay couple who wants to raise a child? There are not kids out there who need you? You're wonderful parents, you're kind, you're loving, you're autistic, you're sensitive, you're terrific. Why are you having babies through a surrogate, a third world surrogate? Why? Tell me why. I'm telling you, the world is all about ego. It's all about ego comfort. There's nothing to do with decency in any of this. The whole thing's crazy. It's about me. Put me ahead of everything else, including ahead of the children. It's not about the children. It's not about them wanting to have a child. It's about them wanting to show that they have a child. It's not about the child. Anyway, look, this is going to go around and around and around. And as Chief Justice John Roberts says, you're not seeking to join the institution of marriage. You are seeking to change what the institution is. The fundamental core of the institution, says Roberts, is the opposite sex relationship, and now you want to introduce it into a same-sex relationship. So around and around the rhetoric goes, and all of us have different opinions on this. Hank on KSFO in San Francisco, fire away, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi, Mike. My point had to do with taxpayer-provided services. In the United States, we now have secular marriage. You can go to City Hall and get married.
Right.
Services provided for by taxpayers. So how can you deny taxpayers? If the City Hall says, we'll marry two people, we have the paperwork, you come in and do it. So how can you deny that to anyone who's a taxpayer in that community or, that's in that? In other words, taxpayer-provided services should be provided to taxpayers who want them.
Well, the Chief Justices are deciding it, not Michael Savage, and John Roberts is questioning this very issue by saying to the attorney arguing, I think from your point of view, is that you're not seeking to join the institution of marriage. You're seeking to change what the institution is.
Yes, I understand, but I think they opened the door with the secularization of marriage. Now, the government provides marriage now. And a long time ago, that was not the case when our country first started. I don't believe that happened. However, then you come into the issue of, separation of church and state. And so you can have churches have the freedom, if they want to marry heterosexual couples or homosexual couples, whatever their religious beliefs are, that can be dictated, and homosexual couples or heterosexual couples can get married in churches that accept them.
But what will happen if it becomes the law of the land and a preacher says he doesn't want to do it? He'll face the same penalties as the bakery does, or the pizza shop owner. He'll be fined by the government for not performing a gay marriage, won't he?
Well, see, that's where I think the Supreme Court needs to make this clear in terms of the options that are available to everyone. Under secularization, marriage is open to any two people that want to be married. And then on the separation of church and state, then churches have the option. There are churches now that will marry homosexual couples. I mean, homosexual couples have the option of getting married and
But you know about the bakery case, the Christian couple that didn't want to bake a cake for a gay wedding. They certainly would serve gay people, but because their religious beliefs, they didn't want to bake a cake. They would find $130,000. So the issue becomes, will preachers be forced to perform gay marriages against their religious beliefs if the Supremes decide that they should?
Well, see, that's where I'm drawing the line between separation of church and state, and I think the bakery issue is a separate issue. I'm just trying to focus on the definition of what we're talking about in terms of marriage. And as it is right now, we have secular marriages that are performed in City Hall.
Yeah, but listen to what Scalia says in clip 2. Fire it. We got a few seconds.
But ministers who do not believe in same-sex marriage will still be authorized to conduct marriages on behalf of the state. You can't do that once it is a constitutional prescription.
You see what he's saying, Hank? See? So it's not as clear-cut as any of us would like it to be.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE. 855-400-7282. Savage.
I'm sick of the white liberals who caused it. I'm sick of the thugs in the street who burnt it. You know, I feel like I'm getting a migraine from all of this. I'm in the talk business. I have to, incite you to talk. But I'm not going to just incite you. I don't want to incite you. Many of you are angry over what Obama's done by laying the groundwork for those riots over the last 6 years. We know what he did. We know what Holder did. We know how they deballed the police. We know what's going on. Now, in the midst of all this, now we have to start talking about redefining marriage. Everything in our lives has to be torn to shreds by the radical left. It's how a revolution functions. Don't you get that? What they want to do is redefine not just marriage, but society itself. You don't understand this as more than marriage. It has much more to do with redefining the entire society. It's the same type of people who want to disarm the police, who want to disarm marriage. Do you understand what I just said to you? Well, that's my opinion. So let's go back to gay weddings. That's all anyone wants to talk about. That's what you want to talk about, nothing else. It's a good topic. We'll revisit it. So let us begin with the actual voices involved, with Antonin Scalia. The man robbing toilet paper would not have known who he is. He would have think he was some Italian who ran Baltimore in the 50s. But no, Antonin Scalia is on the U.S. Supreme Court, and he's arguing with a woman named Bonato. It's Italian versus Italian. Antonin Scalia is the conservative. Ms. Bonato is the gay arguer, the arguer for the gay marriages. So Scalia asked Bonato the following. Let's hear clip 1.
Do you agree that ministers will not have to conduct same-sex marriages?
If they do not want to, that is correct. I believe that is firm under the First Amendment.
She believes. Notice she's a snake like all lawyers. I believe it's part of the First Amendment. Well, listen, Miss Bonato, if it's part of the First Amendment, then why are your cohorts harassing pizza shop owners and bakeries to make cakes for gays when they don't want to? Isn't that part of their First Amendment, Ms. Bonato? You're clean and nice in front of the Supreme Court now. You're wearing a nice press skirt, and you're a Miss Curtsy and Miss this, yeah, First Amendment. You know you don't believe in the First Amendment. You believe in the Gay Amendment, which is do it our way or go to the highway. Don't tell us you believe in the First Amendment. Then Scalia goes on about clergy in clip 2. Listen to this.
But ministers who do not believe in same-sex marriage will still be authorized to conduct marriages on behalf of the state. You can't do that once it is a constitutional prescription.
No answer to that. Right, of course. Once it's a constitutional prescription, then the ministers can't perform any marriage unless they perform gay marriages as well as straight marriages. I guess you can't say straight marriage anymore. That's sort of a slur. You have to use same-sex. I never heard of it. It's like both my parents deceased a long time ago. If I said to them, you know that you were an opposite-sex couple, they would have looked at me like I was crazy. Who ever heard of a redefinition of this in your lifetime? Your mother and father were an opposite-sex couple. You hear this? They had to redefine themselves for less than 1% of the population. Oh, yeah. Your grandmother, your grandfather, going back a million years, they were opposite-sex couples. Let's say 5,000 years. So then Varelli, whoever he is, I guess he's another one arguing for the other side. I have to be fair to the subject. Let's hear clip 3 now.
The opportunity to marry is integral to human dignity. Excluding gay and lesbian couples from marriage demeans the dignity of these couples, it demeans their children, and it denies both the couples and their children the stabilizing structure that marriage affords.
All of a sudden, marriage,